morning, everybody. Yeah, this morning, definitely a low day. I right out of the gate, man. I woke up, it was about 8 o'clock, and I was staring at the ceiling, and my brain's like, hey, do you remember when you were let go? I mean, this is an ongoing thing, and I realize to a lot of people that's not as traumatic as to them, you know, as it is to someone like me. The circumstances were just so stupid. I mean, they just were. But the 6th, which falls on a Saturday this year, of January, will be the anniversary of the day they let me go. They laid me off, which kind of sounds better than it really is, actually. Oh, I got laid off last night. Ooh, that's nice. No, it's not. Yeah, it was just, you know, and if you've been with me from the beginning, I found all of my stuff from February 1st with the old camera, shaking and, you know, just going all over the place because it didn't have any kind of auto stabilization on it, which basically makes this one overheat, but, you know, it's still nice for the 20 minutes that I need for it. So it's been a year since I was laid off from my place of employment. After 5 years and 8 months, 9 months. Yeah, I think I was hired in May. So like 9 months, I think. 5 years and 9 months. And it just, you know, in your brain, you know, you're going through all of the things, you know, that maybe you could have done differently. But the problem with a layoff, especially now, well, I mean, probably forever. It's been this way forever, but the problem with a layoff is there's nothing you could have done. You as the employee did everything right. You did everything you possibly could. You showed up on time. When I was let go, that's exactly what they said, you know, in my final meeting with them. We loved working with you. You were a highlight of our day. You did everything you were asked to do and then some. You went above and beyond. You did all of these things right. You made working with you a pleasure. Everything was great. Here's your severance. We're laying you off. You know, there's nothing. I could have been the most mediocre employee for 5 years and 9 months, and I still would have been laid off. And it's really hard to wrap your head around that for a little bit. But then, you know, you start digging down into your own brain. You ultimately know why people in places they shouldn't be in predicted a recession. There wasn't a recession happening. And as a matter of fact, the markets were getting slowly better going into January of last year. But they predicted a recession. And because they predicted a recession, my employer, in order to protect their assets, i.e. the C-level people and their investors, laid off a dozen people. And seemingly at random, they said, your department has too many people in it. We're going to take, and you know, it could have been my bosses that pulled the trigger saying, you know what, if we have to trim the fat, I mean, I guess we can do without him, but that bit him in the ass, didn't it? It totally did. It totally bit them in the ass because they turned around and they're like, we need to rehire you because we really screwed up. But then again, they didn't learn anything. They didn't, there was no layoff remorse. It was just, hey, just come back and pick up where you left off. And I'm like, no, you got to show me some good faith here, people. You did something wrong. You really hurt me by laying me off for absolutely no reason other than a prediction. I mean, it'd be like, you know, it'd be like going into a fortune teller and the fortune teller saying, you know, unless you sell your Volvo, you're going to have a horrible accident. You know, you sell your Volvo and then you have no way of knowing whether that was actually going to happen or not. It's just so many variables, and the path they chose was a knee-jerk firing. And, people say lay off, and I guess that's a pretty way of saying it, but they betrayed a dozen people who were there for that company every day, working not only from there, but from home in their own private space, allowing their work to be in their house, and then they come back and it means nothing. It meant absolutely nothing because they were like, we have to let people go. Sorry. That's just the way it is. When it's not the way it is. It was a knee-jerk reaction, and they just decided, hey, scorched earth, man. We'll regret it later. Maybe. Dozen people's lives are basically ruined. Now they have to turn around and try to find a job. And, it's just one of those things. You just want to tell them, hey, the severance you gave me made it so I couldn't draw from unemployment for like 4 months. And then at month 3 into that 4 months, you decided to try to offer me my job back with no benefit whatsoever. No remorse. No, here, we did something bad. Let's try to help you out. It was just, just come back the way it was. And that's hard on people, that have to, the people like me who have to sit back and suffer from consequences, but they seemingly don't, because they feel like they can turn around and just rehire you and be like, no, sorry, our bad. We thought this was forever, but I guess it's not, because, we made a mistake, but who cares, right? No harm, no foul. And it's just, today, this morning was a very low day, and I laid in bed for a while in my own self. And then it does what it inevitably does every single time. It went away. And I'm like, I gotta get up. I'm fine to get up now. It's gone. And then just before I got up, Matt's plant that was in the windowsill decided to fall out of it. I don't know if the leaves were up against the glass and it just decided to give itself a little final push and fall off, or what I feel is as more likely, but it's kind of weird. Maybe he turned the plant so that the leaves weren't facing the window and it had too much weight on one side and just came toppling down. Either way, he was lucky he wasn't there, because it came crashing down on his side onto the floor. The pot shattered. Luckily, the root ball was still intact. And I was able to, and I'll show you. I was able to get it back in a pot. But this is it right here. It's a succulent. It's very large. And you can kind of see how it wants to go towards the sun, which made me feel like it grew like a millimeter, and then that was enough to push it off of the pot. But I think more than likely, it's just very heavy right here. And it just teetered and fell. It's teetering right now. I'm trying to keep it, he'll deal with it when he gets home. I don't know about plants like he does. So, but yeah, it fell off. Such is life, I guess. A lot of metaphors and whatnot. But we're here. We're still here. And it's about all we can do. So, yeah, it'll be a year on the 6th when I was laid off. And to be honest, I probably should have turned around and got a new job as quickly as I could have. Because right now, I'm kind of in a limbo. I can adapt to anything. I was off for like 7 months of my own free will prior to getting the job, my last job. So, I can go in and I can adapt and I can become the best damn whatever, just immediately, because I have a good attitude, because I have a willingness to do what needs to be done. I'm not hard to work with. I'm very, I don't complain. I sit in as long as I've got enough shit around me in the closet, I will grow. You don't even need to bother with me once you've got me established. And I may have some questions, but other than that, I'll get the job done. And it just feels like employers are getting more and more into themselves. I've just soured on the entire interview process. It's like I got to go in and you have my resume. You can immediately tell, what I want to do and how I can do it and how I can fit in. But then you got to sit there and ask me HR questions like you're a psychiatrist. And I'm like, who cares? I will problem solve. Look what I've done for the past 30 years, 25 years, customer service, and then, paperwork and filing and electronics and tickets and for different things. And, it's just, I can do anything, at an entry kind of level and excel at it. But it just feels like employers don't seem to understand how much they need employees until they remove so many of them, they can no longer function as a company. And then they panic again, and then it's another knee-jerk hiring thing. And, and then the people that knew how to do the job are lost. I mean, it was 3 months before they came back to me. I mean, if I had said yes, it might not have been a bad thing. I don't know. That's all hindsight. It's not something that's ever going to happen again, and I'm never going to experience it again. So they're never going to call me back because I said no. I said no twice. I said no 3 times. So they're not going to call me back anytime ever. So, I mean, that's not something I have to worry about. But, there may be a point where I have to go get another job because, this is, as much as I want this hobby to become something that, brings in some kind of income, it's just not marketable. Unless a coffee company comes to me and says, hey, feature our product, drink it, tell them what you think, and do that 3 times a week like you're doing it right now, but focus on our coffee with maybe a smattering of other coffees. I mean, that would be nice. I mean, I'm not above selling out. The worst thing in the world to me is when people say bands sold out. That's the point. Do you think heroin grows on trees? I mean, come on. It just doesn't make any sense. Of course they want money. And you can still get their music. The whole selling out thing, it never made any sense to me. It's like you're buying their music. They're already selling you their music. You're not getting it for free on an 8-track tape anymore. People are ridiculous. All around. I mean, yeah. Anyway, it's not been a great morning, and all of these things are swimming in my head, and I'm tired because, as one of my best friends, Johnny, always said, it's not the sleep the night before that you feel, it's the sleep 2 nights ago that you feel. And it just seems like a real thing. And, I didn't sleep at all or very well 2 nights ago. Last night I slept just fine, but the night before, it's like I was up worrying about that stupid video that was way too long. And now that I've cut it down into 4 bite-sized pieces, which I should have done in the beginning, I'm happy with it. But an hour is way too long to try to keep someone's attention on YouTube. It just is. Unless they're in it for the long haul and that's their kind of thing. And that is not the vast majority of anyone. I mean, when I see the analytics, sometimes it's like 5 minutes of a 17-minute video. And, I'm like, that doesn't sound great. But then Matt says, well, that's awesome. Look how long you held their attention. And I'm like, but I want to hold their attention the entire time. Why aren't they watching the whole video? I mean, if they decide to click on it, why do they skip away? It just doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, it's like sitting down and, you know, starting to watch like the 1980s Frank Herbert's Dune and getting to like the part, you know, where Leto Atreides is killed by the Baron, and then, you know, stopping the movie and then walking away and never watching it again. That's weird, because there's a whole entire movie. It's batshit, you know. You get to the part where the little girl is in the middle of the battlefield, you know, with her arms outstretched after she pulled out Harkonnen, pulls out his heart plugs, and he floats away into the worm, and she's out there dancing. And it's like, that's weird. Why is that a thing? But visually, it's stunning, but conceptually, it's batshit. So anyway, all right. So I've gone off everywhere. This is going to be a long one. So I've got this wonderful Toffee Treasure. It's a toffee flavored coffee. It's just basically toffee. It's toffee. It says toffee, incredibly delicious toffee. It's the Indiana Jones. It's the one that's based off of Raiders of the Lost Ark. You can kind of tell there's the Ark of the Covenant. There's the idol. There's the whip. There's the snakes. Very dangerous. You go first. You know, and then there's the big meatball. And I mean, yeah, so this is a really cool packaging. I like this. Yeah, and then this is the one from the Temple of Doom. So with a short-haired Willie Scott, which doesn't make any sense. And then, of course, this is the Crusader Cup with the Holy Grail and scarabs for some reason that I don't get. I think they kind of rehashed that. Look at that. There's that. Yeah, look at that. They just recolor it. Huh. Perhaps I'm giving them too much credit. No, I'm not. These all look amazing. But yeah, look at that. Isn't that funny? Oh, well. What are you going to do? All right, 30 grams, and we're doing a clever. We're doing a clever. I probably need to put new batteries in this, because like I said before, I'll do everything, and then I'll leave the timer running accidentally, and I'll come back up and it'll be like, oh, look, 40 minutes. That's a 40-minute brew. And it's not good for the battery. All right, so this smells different. How about this toffee? Ooh. I'm not sure about that smell. It's interesting. I don't know if is that a toffee smell? I guess it is. It's butterscotch. It's more butterscotch than this butterscotch, because this has got nutty chocolate, butterscotch, and caramel in it for the Crusader Cup. This is way more butterscotchy. Like those orange discs that you get from like Dollar General or any hardware supply or sportsman's goods supply store checkout aisle. You know, those kind of yellow butterscotch discs. Very interesting smell. Let's see if putting this on a medium coarse setting. Well, you know what? Let's go a little coarser with this one. Let's see if the smell profile changes. All right. Ooh. That's what is that smell? It's conjuring up something. I'm remembering something in my head, but I can't place it. I mean, it doesn't smell bad. It smells nice. It's just not what I expected. But then again, I didn't know what I expected. It's par for the course. All right, so we got our hot water. Now I'm going to do about the 400 gram limit of this clever device. Start a timer. Let it go for about 4 minutes. Do what we did yesterday, and we'll break up that nice little crust, give it a stir, let it go for another 2 minutes, and then we will put it on the cup and watch the magic happen. 400. Oh, you beautiful, beautiful little teapot. So yeah, so this is the Toffee Treasure, and the smell as it's brewing is very pleasant. The initial sniff of the beans, I mean, there's no natural toffee. I mean, toffee doesn't form in caves and they harvest it. Toffee's a chemical thing. And that just smells like it smells like fermented butterscotch. Fermented butterscotch. That is the words that I would use for Toffee Treasure. And when it blitzed up, you got more of the full-bodied medium roast coffee aroma mixed with that. And it didn't smell bad. It definitely smelled different, which is a good thing because that, fermented butterscotch, it's not something I ever thought about, to be honest with you. Oh, we dropped a gram. Weird. All right, so that's been about 5 minutes of me going on. So let's break this up a little bit and give it a nice little stir. Me going on and on and on, breaking the crust makes it smell. That's definitely more toffee. Okay, so that's very interesting. So the initial smell was a fermented butterscotch. That's what I came up with. But this steeping definitely gives it a more toffee-like odor. But that just doesn't sound very nice, does it? This has an odor. Let's talk about odor. Doesn't sound very good. Okay, so we're going to do the thing. And we're going to brighten my day up a little bit and hopefully brighten up your day just a little bit too. Yeah, to me that's just magic. And that's a good bed. So the stir and then the swirl, and that's probably the best bed I've gotten out of this clever. Let's go. Put you down. So that should be like the best cup of coffee I've ever had out of this clever. Oh, it's got a very pleasant kind of toffee caramel smell. Which, since there's no overbearing coconut or like chocolate, you can actually get a nice little whiff of a kind of a caramel hit, which is nice. Okay, I get the toffee. I do get the toffee. It's a little bit more bitter than I would like for a medium roast. I'm not sure if that's just the additive that they've put in there for toffee, not being mixed with anything else. That's a toughie. It's not bad. It's just like I said, it's a little bit more bitter than I would normally like. I know this Crusader cup is not going to be bitter because it's got a lot of different flavors in it that kind of pull away from the bitterness. The butterscotch, caramel, and chocolate all together just seemed to be a great combination. And this was creamy. The coconut and caramel flavored. This was very creamy and very delightful. This is not bad. It's, like I said, just a little bit more bitter than I would like. But I definitely get toffee. Yeah, I definitely get toffee. That's not bad. But it's just not what I would normally like to drink. Just a little bit more bitter than I would have liked. But it's okay. It's not on my recommended list, but I'm glad that I tried it. These two definitely are. Crusader Cup and Daring Delight, definitely on my recommend from Bones Coffee list with this Indiana Jones thing. This toffee, glad I experienced it. I don't think I would get it again. So that is my review, because this is now a review show. Get away from that brain melty stuff. Now we're reviewing coffee. And if anybody wants me to review coffee, that's the dream though, isn't it? I see everybody have sponsors, and it's like you don't have to worry about a Patreon, and you don't have to worry about a user count when you have sponsors, because the sponsors are like, just read this a couple dozen times a week. That's just what it's. I know that there's more to it than that. I know that there's more to it than that, but it's just what it feels like, when you're watching like a Mikey Chen do stuff for like Magic Spoon or Tokyo Treat, or you watch Linus Tech Tips and you see them doing stuff for Fortnite. That must be the hardest part of being so popular, is how many comments, terrible comments that you must get. I mean, I'm not popular, but I've gotten some. One dude told me not to quit my day job. And it's like, well, you're obviously not a watcher of my content, because you would know I was laid off. So there was no quitting of my day job. I was asked to leave the building. So it just must be overwhelming, especially if you're a sensitive soul, to try to, and that's why you hire a crew. Babish has got like a bunch of people on his crew doing a bunch of things. I'm sure one of them does. He must have a rotating set of people that watch the comments on his videos, because those have to be just all over the place. But yeah, I've gotten a couple of those, but I think I deleted the one where they're like, "Don't quit your day job," and I'm like, okay. Yeah. And then the other ones where they'll downvote because they don't like the product that I'm talking about. And it's like, well, I'll let Nerf know that you're not really into their phaser rifle there, buddy. Great. Thanks. Thanks for your thumbs down. Really appreciate it. It just doesn't make any sense. Giving people a way to vote for you and your content, when that is so obviously a flawed system. Especially if it places you in any sort of line. The more upvotes you get, the more you're on the front page. Well, that just seems awful. Maybe views would make sense, that kind of a thing. Or maybe volume of videos could get you like maybe once or twice on a front page, like maybe in a month or every 2 months. That kind of a thing. But using thumbs up and thumbs down as some kind of measurement, just because people are so fickle and horrible, and now they've got a voice outlet for their own emotional failings, and they're going to vomit all over your comment section. Ugh. Anyway, thanks for watching today. Thank you for helping me get out of my rut. It was definitely a very hard morning, but being able to talk about it and share coffee with you is very, very helpful. And I really appreciate everyone watching. Just being here. Being here matters, and you matter. And I really appreciate all of you. Thank you so much. And have a great weekend. It is Thursday, which means tomorrow's Friday, so the weekend's on the way. So all of you that celebrate, have a great one, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.